until we go live. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Parks and Recs Commission meeting at 7 o'clock. That's our start. My name is Beth Ashbaugh. We'll go through and do roll call. Ashbaugh present. Carolyn Marks.
Present.
Brett Heindel. Here. Libby Cudmore. Present. Trevor Huntsman.
Present.
Katie Loparty-Shu. Not here. And Parks Administrator Lou Lansing.
Present.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. We'll do any review of approval of minutes. Anybody have questions on last month's minutes? Anybody want a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes from 4/4/2022.
Okay. And second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. And we have petitioners today.
We have to vote.
Oh, vote by acclamation. Oh, sorry, this is I'll vote for
Aye.
aye. All favor approval, aye, pass. Okay, pass. Yep, there we go.
Thank you.
Sorry, Gary. That's okay. All right. Welcome, Robin and Jose, hi. Thank you for coming. And you have questions. You have concerns and questions about you down on Union Street.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Well, as you probably know, Union Street borders the lower Wilbur Park.
Mhm.
And I'd asked Lou if it would be okay if us and a couple of neighbors could come and talk about our concerns. Well, my husband's here. The other two neighbors, unfortunately, had some things come up. But one of them was willing to speak on the phone.
When you folks are ready, we can call her and we can have her talk to you guys.
And I did ask Mark Davies to come. He's our Ward 2 councilman for our community. And so, just to get everybody on the same page here, as you know, the tennis court that on the lower part that's near the pool, a third of the court was converted to a basketball court last summer. And this court directly runs parallel to several residences on Union Street, including ours. And prior to the opening of this court, several other neighbors had expressed concerns about the potential negative impacts of having the basketball courts there. And they did meet with the Common Council last year.
They all know where it is, though.
Yeah, we're
I'll just show you what we see.
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
That's what we
That's
see.
where your window, all right?
Right.
And it was a tennis court before?
It was a tennis.
Yes, it's a tennis
Yes.
court.
It was tennis court number 8 originally.
Yeah.
It was never used as a tennis court because of the surface was so bad because of the trees and other things there. So you never saw tennis there. It was underused, not used at all, hardly.
So anyway, they met with the Common Council, and it was sort of a compromise was made that it would be a family play space instead. And the rules were, the hoops remained. There were no lines painted on the court. And the rules were specifically, and it's posted clearly on a sign on the fence outside of the court. And it says, "Be respectful of families and neighbors near this area. No music, appropriate language, no organized basketball." But unfortunately, some groups of people come onto the court and they don't follow the rules. And there's no enforcement of the rules. It's not like there's a city, like a park manager that roams around and, you know, makes sure that everybody's behaving. So some of the experiences we've had, did you want to see if you could get Jerry Lee on the phone now?
Yeah, is that okay with you folks?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Jerry Lee is our neighbor, and she wanted to come, but her husband was still working, and she was still with a child, so she couldn't leave.
Yeah.
It'd be tough to bring a little boy here.
Okay.
So she would be willing to talk to you guys about this.
Is it similar to the concerns that you'll be pointing out, or?
Well, she has a young child.
Yeah.
Our kids
yeah.
are grown up.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
she, you know, from her perspective.
Did you find that these groups of people who are offending, do you believe it's the same group of people?
No.
So you find you can't pinpoint
No.
the same group coming at the same time?
No,
No,
no.
no.
High school
it's
students, college students?
a mixture.
Mixed.
Sometimes it's college students, and sometimes it's just, it looks like it's just folks from the area.
Yeah. Are they staying later than 10?
Oh, no, no. But the issue is that,
It's hard to hear.
yeah. We've been in Oneonta for 32 years in that home. And so when we first bought the house, I had no problem with it because I loved the area. It was peaceful, quiet. And when they were selling us the house, they said, oh, you know, it's Happy Noise. I said, oh, yeah, it's fine. The Happy Noise she was addressing was a pool. And you can hear everybody yelling, you know, having fun. It's not a big issue. But for 32 years, people play basketball, tennis, and sometimes they did play music, but it wasn't loud. It was very low.
And it wasn't large groups of people.
It was,
You know, tennis is 2-on-2 or
2 on 2,
1-on-1.
4 on 4 tops.
Yeah.
This last year has been really disconcerting because it's very, very loud, and I showed you the picture, just to give you a sense of empathy as somebody. How would you feel if you were in your deck and all of a sudden this music blared? I mean, it's not low. I mean, it's really loud. They bring this Bluetooth speakers and heavy bass, really loud.
The walls are shaking.
So I went down. Most of the time, I would tell them, could you please lower it? And they would listen. But there were several instances where it was very contentious. They were very disrespectful. Oh, it's not my music, and they just kept playing, like totally ignoring. I would have to yell and say, well, I'm going to have to call the police. And only at that time did they lower it. But even then, it was not that low. So eventually, I stopped saying, could you lower the music? Eventually, every time a group, and it would be something where a group would do it, and I'd talk to them, they'd lower it, and then immediately another group would come, like within 15, 20 minutes, and they'd start playing, so I'd have to go down and tell them to please lower it. Eventually, I started realizing that the sign specifically says no music. And when I looked at the ordinance of the city, it's very, very clear that anything that disturbs the peace and quiet of the neighborhood can be applicable. And so I now started saying unequivocally, no music allowed. But every once in a while they do have a contention with me. And to the extent that my daughter was concerned that I go and confront anybody with playing the music, that it could be similar to a road rage. They're going to get angry and they want to do something to me.
Yeah,
And I said, well, worst comes to worst, I can climb the fence and they can't get me. That's like
Yeah, but they, you know, they could vandalize vandalize the house, you know,
Do you
it's,
find that this happens every time a group comes to play
Not every
basketball?
time to be-
I'm just trying to get a sense of,
No.
first of all,
Is
the
it
weather
weekly,
has not
daily?
been that warm, and I'm just wondering
No.
when this is occurring, because the weather has been awful up
Yeah.
until, I mean, we've had,
Well, when it's
so this has
nice-
been going on since January 1 of 2022. I'm trying to
you
get a
know,
sense of when this
it
is
doesn't,
happening.
the court didn't open until, you know, earlier.
Of course, it don't until the snow was gone.
Yeah.
So it was probably the end of March before the courts opened.
End of March, so
Yeah.
we're,
But I would say
we're
that-
finishing the end of, well, are we still in, well, okay, so within a month's time, this has been a serious concern.
In the last 2 weeks, I've had to go and tell groups 4 times, twice in one day, and at least 6 times in about the last 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
just trying to get a sense of
At-
the frequency.
Last year, when it was first put in, that's when the contention was really a challenge. But we just started. But last year was, you know, we had that whole summer. that we had
It's
this
not a
issue.
problem when you've got a dad and his kid out
No.
there, or a few people
And they don't play music.
playing.
Well,
But,
Well, here's the thing, is I live in Center City too as well, and I have college students on 3 sides of my property. And it gets loud. If it bothers me, I call the police.
Mhm.
I don't try to confront them or anything because it's not worth,
Mhm.
Being assaulted.
And they're gone in the summertime.
yeah, but,
And I realized that, and I knew that would be,
right.
but this is a built-in situation. And this just goes with the territory, with this sport. It's gonna collect young men, loud young men, that are not following the rules. They're playing 5-on-5, at both hoops, so that's 20 kids, or 20 young men, yelling and cursing and, you know, blaring music. I mean, do you have that in your backyard? Is that?
Yeah.
My property borders SUNY Oneonta, the turf field. So when we first moved to our house 18 years ago, that was primarily and only used for men's and women's soccer. So I got used and accustomed to the quiet. Well, now it's a beautiful turf field, and it's used, the students are there during their fall season at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I do hear music. They're using that field now year-round. So there's some sort of adjustment that has to be made. They do play music, and
Okay, this is 20 feet from our yard.
Yeah.
well,
If I
It's 20
could,
feet from our yard.
and I'm sorry, so I'm going to speak as a former resident of Union Street and certainly the council member for the ward. I think what's really at issue here is that the use of this court has changed. So it used to be that there was tennis, and for a while pickleball most recently, until that was moved down to Neal Park. And this has changed the kind of complexion of the use of those courts, that there's much more people there, noise and everything else. That's the challenge right there, is that the use changed. Again, the use of the families there, fantastic, but it's having all the young people there making so much noise. So I think it's different to be able to put that there. I recognize that you all folks might think differently, but it has changed and impacted the quality of life for many of the people because it's so close. We've looked at trying to, create visual barriers. I think that's nice, but it doesn't prevent the sound from being there. So, good idea I think to try to get use of the court. I have no issue with that. I think that's trying to use the park resources,
Right.
but it has changed the uses of that, which has changed the kind of how the people utilize it. So I put that out there as something to consider. I would propose also, if I can propose, is we think about taking down those courts. I know you all have been doing your survey to try to understand the different usages, and consider what we would do there and how we would do it thoughtfully. So it has really, impacted the quality of life for many people there. Looks like you have a retort for me.
Well, no, not a retort. I understand your concerns, I really do. Having lived in loud areas, I get it. My concern is we talk about wanting to make sure that young people use our parks. So it's how can we still attract young people to use our parks, to use our resources without causing.
There is a basketball court on the upper level,
And it has-
but it's not being used because I went up there and I looked there the other day and it's a concrete surface, it's all cracked, there's grass growing, it's on level,
Well, there we go.
it's, pitiful basketball hoops,
And there are no homes
what's-
around the area?
There's no homes, they
So that wouldn't
can,
be a problem.
they can play to their heart's delight and they're not interfering.
Mm-hmm.
So, why not fix that up,
Yeah,
improve
yeah.
that, and
I think probably what is, from my understanding of the whole situation, a lot of it is logistics and getting things switched from one point to the other that we're working on in the parks. The stopgap until we get things sorted would be to, if it's really offensive, do what I do and just call the police so you're not
but
involved
the
in
thing
it at
is,
all.
like the other day, I was out on my deck, enjoying my deck, and then the group comes in there, start blasting their music. Jose goes down and talks with them, they turn it off. An hour later, they leave. Another group comes in,
Yeah.
starts blasting their music.
So we're gonna do
So
that.
it's like
every time
a
we-
revolving door,
If I may just say, Jose, Robin, I'm sorry this is happening. I will say the intent of this basketball court was to make a space where children could play and parents could go out and shoot with their sons and daughters or whatever, and still enjoy Wilbur Pool. Now I can see my kids in a safe place there, I can watch my kids in the pool. That was the intent.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
understand that.
agree,
And I agree with
I
you.
agree with your point, I agree with yours. It has changed, things have changed, and it has made the quality of your life less, and I'm sorry for that. We are going to examine things and put something forward to our administrator, our mayor, the council members, what we want to do with Wilbur Park and creating a plan for Wilbur Park. I think we have to make a change there. So we have heard your complaints, your concerns before. I think they're legitimate. I think we're listening. We are not moving maybe fast enough to make you feel better, but we will do something with that space.
What's the possibility of putting a smaller basketball hoops like for kids?
We can do a lot of different things. We're
Okay.
considering a lot of things.
Okay.
And I will tell you, for the same reason that you're commenting about the basketball court being there, I have concerns with putting the basketball court up by the children's playground. I have the same concern.
Yeah.
You've got a large pavilion that families are renting, you've got a playground. If it's a problem for Union Street residents, why would it be a problem for others?
Yeah.
So we're gonna look at all of that. I just, we have also heard from other individuals that want lines on the court. They want basketball
I'm aware
up
of
to
that.
speed. So,
I'm
and we've
aware of
heard
that,
that from Union Street neighbors. So we're trying to listen to everyone. I just ask you to, we're so glad you came. I just ask you to be very patient with us. We will try to, I don't know if we'll be able to please everybody, but we'll try our best. We certainly need to listen to your concerns.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
I
So
will
we don't
say-
need to call.
I don't think you need to, but
But basically,
We hear you,
same
yeah,
thing.
we do.
I will say, though, that I did feel like I needed to show that the rest of the people on my street are supportive
Yeah.
of our, and I did put forth a petition to make the family play space in Lower Wilbur Park family-friendly, and I'll give you a copy of it. I went to all the houses on Union Street, and the majority of them, over 60 signatures signed. There are people that border the court,
And actually hear the noise too.
and those that don't but hear the noise, but also those that are empathize with
Sure.
the situation.
we'll certainly take that.
So
Let's take it from you. Thank you.
I've got one for you. And this This is the gist of that.
Yeah, you did some homework here. You came prepared, thank you.
But I will, conclude that, the city noise ordinance, it's, the city of Oneonta ordinance, it intends to hereby to prohibit all excessive and unreasonable noise from all sources subject to its police power in order to preserve, protect, promote health, safety, and welfare, and the peace, quiet, comfort, and repose of persons within the city. And prohibited noises may arise from the following activities, but the following list shall not be deemed to be exclusive, including radio, musical instruments, phonograph, television set, amplifier, loudspeaker, or other machine or device for the producing or reproducing of sound in such a manner as to disturb the peace, quiet, and comfort of neighboring residents or any reasonable person of normal sensitivities, whether residing in the area or not. So, I
I
think,
think you guys knew that, right?
Yes.
so, we're not
So
coming
we
from no.
appreciate you listening
Oh, I'm glad
Thank you so
came.
much.
to us.
Thanks for,
Yes, and we recognize that this is a public park.
Yeah.
It's an area for the public to enjoy and appreciate, but that we also have to recognize that this is a residential neighborhood and like the two need to be compatible
Yeah,
with
there's
each
got to be a
other.
compromise.
And that's,
Okay.
so,
thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
thank
Good luck.
you. Is there, are there any other questions or? I will say that I know that there's some discussion about putting up a noise barrier, but I don't think that's gonna work. Your
Yeah.
concerns were that it
Well, it's
would,
basically an echo chamber in that area.
because there is a hill
Yeah,
past there
bouncing back and
Yeah.
forth,
that you're
yeah.
gonna have. And any visual barrier just makes it hard for us to try to enforce or to
Yeah.
communicate with the people that are playing. So,
Thank you so much for your
all right,
Thank you, guys.
We've been
thank you for.
feeling it for years between, yeah, so
Okay.
thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you. Thank you, Jose. All right, our next, Daniel? Yep.
Yep.
All right, Daniel, hi, welcome, thank you.
Hi. I was petitioning on the behalf of my fraternity, AE Pi, Alpha Epsilon Pi, of SUNY Oneonta to host a pig roast at Wilbur Park. And I was...
You're the concerns, right?
Yeah, and to rent the large pavilion on the upper level of Wilburn. And I think I've been having some of my other brothers help
Yeah,
communicate.
I've talked to several people.
Yeah, Jack and Colin, I believe. So we would like to host it as a fundraising event for our fraternity and also as a community event for the larger college, just because it also happens to fall on our study day, when it's in between our classes and the beginning of our finals. So we were asking permission to have a roaster on the premises of Wilbur Park, starting early in the morning to just get it set up and take several hours, but we're only planning to host the event from about 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and then clean up for about hopefully an hour afterwards.
The request was given to Carrie and myself on Friday, was for an event, a pig roast in Wilbur Park, using the large pavilion as a fundraiser for their fraternity. Okay? They had asked to roast the pig, come into the park at midnight the day before, and roast the pig overnight. That is off the table. We will not allow that. We've already told Jack that, and I've sent an email to Jack, which I'm hoping he's already shared with you.
Yes,
So this request coming to you should be a request for a fundraiser in Wilbur Park for their fraternity, using the large pavilion from 1 to 6. You're saying 1 to 4 now. The 1 to 6 was the request I got. It can be 1 to 4, whatever you want.
That was till 6 included cleanup?
yeah.
Yes, okay.
You're welcome to roast the pig anywhere else
Okay.
that you can, and you can bring that food into the park for your fundraiser, but you may not, please don't refer to it as a pig roast, and please, you're not going to be roasting a pig there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done, it will take you longer to roast a pig or pork, anything, than you think it will take. So you might want to start it halfway through the previous day. Just saying, done it myself.
We don't allow
So
grills,
having that at the park is,
we don't allow grills or open fires at the park, and we certainly don't allow someone to have an activity inside the park during closed hours. I mean, there are neighbors there too.
Right, yeah, so,
Because technically the park closes at 10 PM.
10:30,
10:30, I'm sorry.
that's all right, close enough.
okay, so
Well, then, I still have,
you still want to have the event?
yes, I'd
Yes.
still like to host the event. We still have a property in Oneonta to roast the pig.
Okay,
Yes, I also have some experience in an uncle who's going to be helping me. So it's still okay that we have host this at the large pavilion at Wilbur Park on our study day?
There's nothing else going on?
Yeah, it's during the middle of the week.
You all have to decide if you are going to support this, put it in a motion and vote on it. And then I will let them know that you will have to do the necessary paperwork with me, do an application, get it, I have your certificate of insurance, I received that, do an application, and then you will have to apply for an application for the large pavilion with Carrie. I think you've already filled out an application.
I'm just curious, is there anything else going on besides this in the park that day?
I don't
Tennis
think,
practice, that's a.
yeah, on the lower level. Nothing that will interfere with this.
Then I have no problem.
yeah, I don't have a problem.
So we can make a motion to approve it
Sure.
before all of the paperwork is?
Yeah, you have to approve it before a new event.
Oh, I see, okay, because it's a new event. Okay.
Yeah, I would, don't call it a pig roast, just call it a picnic.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's a
Or fundraiser.
Yeah.
Fundraiser, yeah. So, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve SUNY Oneonta Omega Sigma Chapter Alpha Epsilon fraternity fundraiser on May 11, 2022.
Yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Opposition? Okay. All right, sounds good.
Okay, so Daniel, you'll have to go to the clerk's office and make your payment for the large pavilion. And then you have to do an application with my office. I can send you or Jack, whoever would like to email me tomorrow. If you email me tomorrow, and I'll give you my cards via my email address.
Mhm.
You email me, I will send you the guidelines to go online and do our application online. There's a $50 non-refundable fee for that.
Yep.
I will invoice you, I will invoice whoever the applicant is, whether it's you or Jack or Colin, I think
Third,
today.
yeah.
Whoever the applicant is, I will invoice your organization and that applicant for the for the application fee. The money will have to be paid before you use the pavilion to the clerk's office. Separate things, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'll give you my card. And as soon as you take care of the application, I will do a permit for your event. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Save us a plate. Okay, then now, anything else under, no other petitioners today?
Yeah, I'd like to move to Mike Maben, who's been
Yes.
very patient. He's not
Yes.
really, Mike's not really a petitioner, but he wants to tell you all a little bit. I asked him to come because none of you were on the commission when we allowed this for the first year, the Nika bike race, and I thought you might be interested to learn a little bit more about it. And thankfully, they're returning to the park this year. So, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so I'm here representing the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. I'm not a paid member of that organization, just a volunteer, as well as a past head coach and current, I'll call myself a ride leader or assistant coach for the local mountain bike team. So we're a returning event. We put in an application with Lou's office to host what would be the third middle school and high school mountain bike race that Oneonta has held. We also are applying to Oneonta High School, the Oneonta City School District. That is where the event actually is staged. But the trails and primarily just the trails are going to be part of the application with the city. The event is scheduled to be held on May 15th. It's a Sunday. And it's always been held on a Sunday in the past. We haven't had much complaints that I'm aware of about that. There will be some riders will come to the area on Saturday. The course is allowed to be pre-rode on Saturday afternoon. It's usually minimal, but the event itself does draw over 250 riders. I would say close to 1,000 people to the area. With the families and spectators that come with it. Again, it's all 6th grade through 12th grade age kids. What else? In the past, the event has, the people coming here use the hotels, they use the restaurants, they buy our beer, they buy our food, they go to our campgrounds. So it's been a overall very positive thing for the city itself, as well as the kids who get to use the course. It's considered an honor to host a course. We're actually kind of lucky that we got one this year. We weren't supposed to. The race director, who's based out of Dobbs Ferry, New York, he's the president of NICA, New York MTB, or mountain bike. He came to me a few weeks ago. One of the other courses had some problems, and he sort of like begged, "Do you think you guys can pull this off?" I said, "I think we can." So that's what we're here for, is to hopefully be able to do this again for a third year. Won't be 3 in a row. We missed a year because of COVID, but we did a race in 2019, 2021, and now 2022. And as far as the city trails, we had one course that went down into the lower Roller Park area around the pools and then back up toward the high school. We've reduced that course. We kind of felt a lower footprint, smaller footprint's better for everybody, less course marshals, less work for everybody. So we're really kind of invisible to some extent. We do come down in to the upper level of Wilbur Park and the paved, the old road that used to go through and come out by the middle school for a very short time, and then riders disappear back into the woods. It in the past has drawn quite a few spectators, even just local people who are interested or see something going on, come and watch. I mean, Mark lived in the area and rides, so he can probably support what I'm saying. I will say we have probably, in the 3 years that I've been doing it, one complaint that we've narrowed down the walking areas too narrow, and that one area we'll improve that this year. So there's really, other than a crosswalk in one area where the riders will cross the road, there's really little to no impact on pedestrians or park users. The trails would be tough to use that day of the race, but they're all well marked. Course marshals along the course. Rider safety is like the number one priority. If there's any foul weather, the race would be canceled or rescheduled. So that's kind of it. I really came more for just an overview like that and to see if you had any questions.
Mike, do you label the course for the riders for that particular event? Do you do any additional course labeling?
Yeah, so the course itself is well marked out with caution signs, tape, arrows, but then there are also cones and other signs posted that morning, caution race ahead. So any areas where there wouldn't be normal foot traffic or trail use, there'll be caution signs placed as to an event scheduled today to notify people.
Will you also use the trails behind the Oneonta High School? Is
Yes.
that part of it also?
Yeah, the race really is centered in the practice fields at OHS, and the start goes up behind the lacrosse field and circles through some of that stuff, and then it comes back down through the upper level of the park.
So, I'm just for curiosity's sake, so the park usage would only be what, like an
Very
hour?
minimal.
Tops?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good event.
Good way to get kids out and
Yeah.
involved in mountain biking and cycling in general.
I gotta tell you, it didn't surprise me at all when Mike said they could do it on short notice like this. The bike group in our area does a phenomenal job with our bike hike trails. I don't know what we would do without them. They do. And I gotta tell you, just a little personal story. I went to their event the first year. I did not go the second year. But I made my daily pilgrimage to Dunkin' Donuts at the time the race was finishing. I go into Dunkin' Donuts and there are all kinds of kids and parents in there, and they all have their bikes on their... So I said, how was the bike race? Every kid there, big smiles, so excited. They had such a good time. To me,
That's a win.
that's a win, exactly. They just had such a great time. Mike,
Yeah,
thank you
it's
for
a-
all you guys do.
Thank you. No, it's a extremely well-established organization. I mean, the NICA group themselves started in California. As you can imagine, mountain biking it's a high school sanctioned sport in many of those states. The New York League, this will be our 9th, would have been our 10th anniversary if it wasn't for COVID, but it is our 9th season. And it's quite a scene. Mayor Herzig started the race, both previous races. Maybe we can get another mayor or Mark. You ride to that occasion, wouldn't you?
Got a little experience there, so, yeah.
I'd almost love to see them spend a little more time in the park again.
Yeah.
Get in there, picnic, just kind of get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think there will be some spillover. They'll go check out other trails in the area. You'll find that they'll come back too. Those that come to the Oneonta Trail System, they're like, wow, this is like a mountain bike mecca, and they come back.
Great.
Yeah, I've got neighbors that use the trails, so.
Yeah, is there a way we can, give the riders a map, like, hey, check out these trails.
Yeah.
While you're here.
And it's on our website too, so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
A lot of our trails are now on trailforks.com too. Some of our trails are private property, so we're a little sensitive to over promoting, but yeah, people find them.
Okay.
Did they also use John New Island for any other type of events, Mike? Or those are...
Those are mountain bike trails.
Yes.
There are multi-use trails, but yeah, those get mountain biked quite a bit. We would love to have an event or race out there, but it's just so kind of, locked in there
Hard to
with
get
the
to,
with the
yeah.
river and the
It's hard
interstate.
to-
There's no one big area where you could have cars
Trying to
parked
get
and,
everyone together.
yeah.
But that's another nice, opportunity
Yeah.
for...
Well, the kids love those trails.
And it's great that,
It is.
Oneonta High School partners with them to do
Yeah.
the event there. I think it's a nice draw, that
Yeah.
area, so.
Yeah, with the size that it's grown to, you know, we considered holding it in the upper level of Wilbur Park or lower level. We just don't have the room for, I mean, there might be 400 cars.
Right.
So we couldn't do it without the high school.
Yeah.
Partnership.
Do we need to approve anything?
No, because it's all
Already done.
It's a returning event, applications in.
Applications to do your
All
insurance,
set.
it's all in.
ready to ride.
Now if Lansing will just do her end of the word.
And Mother Nature is the most
Right.
important.
Yeah,
The 2 previous races, it's been just ideal weather, which
yeah,
helps.
exactly.
It will be.
Mike, thank you for.
Thank you.
coming.
I appreciate your support.
So much.
Tell Patty hi.
I will. I think she's gonna see you Sunday morning.
Yes,
Your Mother's Day present.
yes.
Oh, nice to meet you. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy with it.
That's great, okay.
Make sure through the 3 years of
Park
COVID.
news,
I can buzz through this fast if you want.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you've all already looked at it. I wanted to let you know that there are a number of events that are coming back. Obviously, the Nika Bike Race, the Boys and Girls Softballs come back to the park from the Boys and Girls Club. OHS is playing a couple modified games this week. They're leather sacking baseball, that's pretty impressive. They have 21 dates on field 6. So we're all glad about that. We meet tomorrow with the city group, meets tomorrow with Bernadette Winters Bell to confirm the Telephone to the Wind project. I wanted to let you know that in June, I think one question that was asked in the past is why the softball fields weren't used. Other than COVID, they are used. The Oregon's adult softball women's league will return to the park starting June 1st. They'll be playing every Monday, Wednesday night. They use all 4 fields. So softball is alive and well in the park. I've had a number of people ask, I had a couple different groups ask about the possibility of playing softball in the park. As soon as they send me something or connect with me with something, you know, a little more than their interest, I'll get it to you all. But so far, we've just had conversations. We've received a proposal from the YMCA. As soon as it goes through council, I'll let you guys know. It'll probably be next month. Mayor Mark Dronick had announced that Congressman Antonio Delgado would be coming. Unfortunately, his office canceled today.
Oh.
They had a scheduling conflict, so that won't happen. And I am sorry about that. If he reschedules, I will let you know.
Okay.
I just got that message.
Is he gonna bring a dog?
Oh, that I don't know. That, I doubt it, but I'm not sure of. Okay? Paul Conway is one person that had mentioned something about softball. He and I are gonna have coffee next week sometime, and we're gonna talk about that, so maybe something will come out of that. I sent you an article that Greg had sent me on the growth of pickleball, and I'm just putting that out there as something that we may need to consider adding some more pickleball. You know, that might be an option when we start looking at surveys to, you know, put 4 pickleball courts at Wilbur next to the tennis courts.
Yeah,
That would probably take care of
That might help in that, but that's just something I'm putting out there. We don't have to do that. My ideas haven't been the best in the past, so we'll just look at that. That's all. Well, I have 2 more little things. I did follow up with an email to Kevin Harrington that had requested the concert and was working on that. He's found another place for the concert, will not be using the park. I think he's gonna go to the foothills. So it's kind of good because I need a Saturday date to give the fishing derby, so I'll probably give them that August 20th date and see if they can use that. I don't know if they'll be able to, but that's gonna be a possibility for them. I have one more petitioner that just sent me information this afternoon, and that's the reason why it's not in my parks report. And I'm just gonna, she could not attend the meeting tonight. Her name is Mary Margaret, and she is president of the Cooperstown Tennis Club. And you may not remember this, but the tennis club is the one that sponsors the youth tennis program that Phyllis Orlowski runs in the park in the summer. So they've already been in the park in another capacity. They would like to come to the park and bring students from South Courtright School that are doing a big tennis project to come to our courts for one day in May and play and have some games. And Cooperstown Tennis will apply, they will provide us with insurance, they will run the clinic for the kids. It does not interfere with anything else on the court. Oneonta High School season will probably be over, but if not, it's during the day, so they will be off by 2:30 if Oneonta decided to use the courts. The date of the event they're asking for, and it just lost me, is 5/26. I'm sorry, 5/25, and their rain date is 5/26. So I guess I need to know if you guys are okay with that, if you want to make a motion and second and vote on it, or do you need more information?
No, I think it's a great
Sounds
idea.
great to me. Yeah.
It's a youth event for
And
kids that
free.
don't get the opportunity to play on courts. They're playing in a gym, they're gonna love our courts.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I'll move to approve that usage. I'll second. Second, all in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Thank you. I'll let her know. Thank you very much.
Right. Thanks, Lou. Anything else? New business?
Just the stuff I've listed in the old business there, I think we know that I don't have an update on the work project in the large dog park area. Not anybody's fault other than mine. I just didn't get a hold of John and Chris today, but I don't know if you have an update on that, do you? That's fine. I'll get you an update. I'm sure that we're getting close, but last I knew they were waiting for the pipe to come in that they needed for that project. It may be here, they may have already started it, but I'll get you an update on that. Carrie, would you like to do anything with the survey as old business? You sent us everything.
Yeah, that's amazing. Just to review, the are two separate sections. I apologize for how they printed, but my eyes couldn't handle the 8.5 by 11 comment section, so to be fair to all. The only thing that is not included in your comment section is if someone indicated a yes or a no, but they didn't provide any supplemental comments. The yeses and nos are counted in the graphic representation you have of the survey in your agenda packet. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
See, the only other thing I have is I sent you an article on disc golf because it was something that was mentioned quite a lot in the survey. And I know Carolyn had also mentioned what a fun activity it looks like. I will tell you after our resident expert on disc golf is probably, or at least the person I know, is Dave Corey. He used to play all the time. He knows a lot about it. He gave me a lot of information on it, and I will tell you that I do not honestly believe it's something we could put in Wilbur Park. We just don't have the space.
I think it sounds like a way to get people hurt.
I'm sorry?
They're throwing discs around the park.
I still didn't hear
It
that.
sounds like,
If you're throwing, like, they're like plastic discs, I think it sounds dangerous to have in a park.
Well, I think you're right. I think that's the thing. We don't have the space for it where it wouldn't interfere with another activity, somebody hiking or biking, or somebody walking their dog, or, somebody going to the pool where you can't do it just anywhere.
you can't. Matter of fact, the Emerson in Auburn, New York, where my sisters live, the Emerson Disc Park golf, it is 18 holes.
Yeah.
and they have a front nine and a back nine.
Yeah.
And I've played it, and it's specifically for disc golf.
Yeah, I think you need a space where you're just doing that.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Yeah,
for-
and I can't think of any place in any of our parks, the only place it even crossed my mind, and I don't even know that it's a great idea, Dave and I both talked about the Greenway area, but because it's such a pretty good strip of area, but people hike there all the time. I think some people bike there. I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea.
Lots
Yeah.
of
There
discs.
is a disc golf place on exit 13. The driving range place has disc golf.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was-
there's-
I was
It's
gonna
like,
say-
it's pretty cool to have it in a park for free, but at the same time, like, you're not really playing golf in
Right.
Noah Park. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it
Right.
doesn't make sense.
I know that
We
it'd
don't
be
allow
cool,
it.
but like, realistically, you can pay and play.
I just wanted to address it
Yeah,
because
okay.
people had requested it, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to say we're not even going to talk about it. So
Yeah. No,
I
but
agree.
yeah.
I just think it's not feasible with what we do in the park. So,
Yeah. Too bad, but we've got awesome parks already. So, okay, anything else that anybody?
and then the other thing I gave you was what's going on in the park for the next month. And you can see things are starting to heat up.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry. One more thing, the community service project on there for May 7th, they just contacted me today, AAA, they can't do it on that date. So we're looking for another date. They can't do it in May, which is a little disappointing because we were gonna get the walkway all cleaned up and mulched and everything before Memorial Day. So now it will fall to us to do it ourselves, which we can, but it would have been a nice thing. They just didn't have the staff to do it at this time.
Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm just fascinated
This
by
is
it.
like fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanna like, there's a whole bunch that I wanna do like right now. Like, let's put in lights. That's a great idea. Let's do it tonight. Oh, you know, because it's like, of course, you know, some of them obviously need more thought, but
Could I ask a question? I'd like to know where, I see you're going to meet with Bernadette Wintersbell tomorrow, May 3rd. The location of the telephone
Yeah.
in Wilbur Park, has it been selected?
Well, she hasn't designated the spot. I think I have an idea. I think it's going to be very close to the high school at that end of Wilbur Park on that level, on the lower level. So it's accessible. And there's a little chute off of there. I think that that's where she's gonna pick, but we don't meet till tomorrow, so I can't tell you for sure.
Okay.
As she explained it to me, I think she wants an area that's private but accessible, which is difficult, which is a challenge. So John and Chris and I are meeting with her tomorrow.
Okay.
Is that where I think there's a stone bench of some sort? Is it right before the bridge that goes over the creek in Wilbur Park?
Oh, yeah, it's before that.
Before that, so it's in that,
It's in that straightaway there that's accessible, and I think it's to the left. There's a little like drive right, it's not a drive, it's
yeah, I
like
know
a
what you
little,
mean. Mhm,
you know,
I know
trail
what
there.
that space is.
I believe that that's what she's talking about. As we've talked on the phone, that's what she's kind of explained.
And that would not require any changing of that area,
No,
okay? As far as moving, cutting trees or anything like
No.
that, okay?
no, it's putting up the phone.
It's just,
And as her request is now 2 phones. She wants a phone that somebody can stand and talk at, and she wants a phone that if I'm sitting or,
In a wheelchair.
in a wheelchair,
okay.
can use the phone that's not high. And that makes sense.
That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Makes sense to me. So,
I'm excited about that.
When I find out for sure, I can send you all an email if,
Do we,
you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we vote on it on the next meeting then?
You've already voted for her to, you've
Yeah.
already voted for her to do it, it's just that we need to find the location.
But at this point, there will not be a bench included in this.
She doesn't want to donate a bench at this point.
Yeah.
Eventually, she will want something. I mean, eventually, she wants a telephone booth, but that's a bigger expense, and that would, you know, we would have to consider that.
Yeah, right, for,
I think a phone booth would be a playground for fun things to happen, and would it get tipped over, and would it get painted? I don't know.
yeah, right, for vandalism.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so, okay,
Okay.
all right. This is exciting. Any other questions or business, new business?
I think we need to decide, Beth, how we're gonna, I think maybe divide and conquer, this survey. Maybe we, honestly, I haven't had enough time to go through it. I mean, Gary did a phenomenal job sending it, but I have not had the time to really look through it. I think maybe each one of us could, you know, write down 2 or 3 things that we've taken away from it and go from there to maybe next month, develop a strategy or at least some park priorities that we see.
Okay.
Obviously, we're going to have a conversation about what we might think we want to do with the children's play center, play space.
Okay.
Unless you all want to talk about that more now. I mean, we don't have to put it on Trevor. Trevor's looking at the clock, shaking his head. So,
I just been talking about that for a few months,
Yeah, we have.
back and forth.
Skate park,
No, the basketball.
basketball court, yeah.
honestly, I think that there's, as much as I think that there's much more negatives about keeping basketball there than positives.
I just want to make sure that we're not eliminating it and that we're still having, you know, I like the idea that she suggested about redoing the one in Upper Wilbur, because if we keep taking away services, then young people aren't going to use our park. Like, I'm sorry to allow, but young people deserve to use our parks.
I agree, but I also think that if you restore the basketball court on the upper level, you're saying it doesn't matter what goes on the upper level, next to the playground and the large pavilion, it doesn't matter, but it matters down on the lower level, because it's with the neighbors. If the conduct on the basketball court is not acceptable for that space, why is it acceptable near the playground and the large pavilion?
Well, the behavior that they're really complaining about is language and noise.
And you would get this, and you would get,
Yeah.
and it would be the same, anytime,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that about, I'm not sure about the whole thing.
Right.
However, if you build a new basketball court facility, there's going to be people playing music,
Mhm.
and there may be language issues, I don't know. I just don't, I don't think I think we're trading one site for another. One problem for another.
But if it's in a more populated area,
Yeah.
it might self-police a little more, because if you're down there, and I've never been down there when people are playing. My husband and I walk the park, so I can't speak to that. But if you see other people, then you might almost police yourself and think, okay, maybe I won't be so loud. Or there'll be other people who can say, hey, can you keep it down, can you keep it down? If you can't really see those neighbors, they don't register. So,
I don't know, it sounds like they're seeing them a lot.
yeah, I mean, I'm not,
I don't know. You might be right, Libby, but I just can see us taking, spending a lot of money, making a new basketball court up there, and then having the same people, different people come in and say, next to our playground, really?
My concern is changing it back to something and then having the same complaints because people are using that same area. You know, it's still gonna be a park, is my theory is that we're just trading activities And no matter what, there's always gonna be noise, because it's a park, and people are using it for what it's designed to be used for. And as unfortunate as it is, it's still a park and it's being used.
I agree totally.
And from every other place that I've seen, I haven't seen people bringing thunderous basketball speakers and stuff like that. But I think if it's pickleball's gonna make noise too, is what I think.
I've read a lot of articles where neighbors are mad about having pickleball next to their residences because of the noise, the click of the ball every time it's hit.
Have there been, are basketball courts in Newa in use?
Yes.
Have there been complaints there?
Because it's not near neighbors. And
But
it's-
it's near a playground.
Yeah,
It's
there's
near
the
every-
playground.
The playground is quite a ways away from it. The large pavilion, I'm sure that I'm not sure, I'm telling you that there are complaints sometimes about those individuals that are playing basketball, hanging out, coming from basketball into the large pavilion when there's an activity going on in the large pavilion. And I will tell you, it has been a problem when our music series has moved to the large pavilion. The kids coming from the basketball courts. I'm not saying bad kids. I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying that there has been some,
Okay, so there is precedent. That's my only.
a little bit.
Okay.
But I think it makes more sense if you want to draw more people to the park. And Greg and I have already talked about this a little bit, making another new basketball court
That's
next to the one that's existing, the new one that's existing in Neola. Now you can draw more kids, they would have 2 play spaces, and you have the ability for people to come in like Cam's group, Bundo, and have tournaments. And that draws more people to the park.
As long as we're coming up with someplace else for them to be and not just prohibiting groups of people from our parks.
I agree.
That's my biggest concern.
I agree, and the 2 gentlemen that were here that wanted the basketball court at Union, they're not gonna be happy, because now they're gonna have to get in their car and drive to Newell Park. I agree.
Yeah, it's tough.
But then again, I know we're talking about just Union Street residents, but what about the rest of the community? What if I'm, walking to the park and I want to play basketball? There's no place to play basketball in Wilbur Park.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's just gonna be, somebody's always gonna be mad. It's
So, we're kind
Just-
of in a
going back and forth.
curious situation,
Yeah, rock and a hard place.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have an answer for that, and I don't know that any of us have an answer
No.
for it. Maybe we could put up a couple of freestanding basketball things, so at least you could go and shoot baskets. I know it's not the same thing. I know it's not the same thing.
But that's what we want. We want, a couple guys to shoot some baskets and hang out. We don't want team games.
I don't know that we don't want that.
Well, like in Neil, or in Wilbur, for instance, we talked, he was here last week saying, I just want to go shoot some hoops. The problem isn't kids playing basketball, it's 20 people.
And you all, if you decide that you want to refurbish the basketball court on the upper level, don't just listen to Lou Lansing. I mean, I haven't been right every time in the past, so, if that's what you all think we should do, that's what we should do, but I just don't know after what's transpired with the basketball court. I never would have guessed this would happen.
No.
No, I
Not a
never,
million years.
no, not at all.
Well, part of my frustration with that whole situation is that why would you want to go confront people when all you can do is just call the police?
I think they were just trying to resolve it.
Yeah,
And they're right in that we don't have a park ranger that can go
Yeah.
around and ticket people.
yeah,
And it does fall on the police, and a lot of people don't want to call the police.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some people don't want, I had somebody tell me, I don't want to bother the police. Well, that's the choice. That's the choice we have.
Yeah.
And of course, the police have an important job to do, but that's a choice. I mean,
I just didn't realize that music and all of that would be a problem. I personally enjoy hearing all of that from
Yeah.
Sabrina.
Yeah.
I'm really, our situation even where we live has completely changed because that field is used year round. And, you know, I can either enjoy it and embrace it or sell my house and move.
You should get some Bluetooth speakers, play some of your music for us.
Right,
You know, you guys
right.
do it,
I just think that that's such an important part of our community, the vibrancy of our youth, and you just accept it, and
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe
I
that's
just
a
Yeah.
teacher.
Either way, it's out of our control. Like, yes, like we could go out of our way and keep switching it back and forth, but I think it's a problem that's gonna consistently come up, no matter what it is. It's
You're
gonna
right.
be-
Yeah.
I mean, unbathe it, make it a tennis court, nobody uses it. It's like, sorry, I don't know what else. Like, if you make something to be used, it's.
part of the reason why we changed away from the tennis court is it wasn't used. It wasn't used. Kids went, the most I ever saw court 7 and court 8, tennis court 7 and 8 used through all of my years in the park, even before I came back to work for the city, was kids who went to the pool would freeze in the pool, they'd lay their towels on court 8 and go over and dry off and play in the sun.
the cold pool is a big concern in Southern.
So maybe we tear it out and grass it, I don't know.
It just
what
seems
the answer is.
successful is my problem that I see. The basketball court seems successful.
Maybe we put our tennis hitting wall there, that was requested a lot. It would make the Oneonta High School tennis team very happy. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I just, we have to find that line between policing individual behavior and,
Allowing people to use.
to enjoy the parks that
I mean, we have some similar problems that happen in Neowah. We have people that, play loud music from their car. They're blasting music out of their car. I mean, you can actually see their car vibrating, and other people around you can tell they're annoyed. I go out and speak to them several times because I can't hear myself think in my office because my windows are rattling because of the music being played out there. And usually, if you ask them nicely, they turn it down. But some people don't want to have that, that level of, yeah, don't want it to be, and some people sit in their cars and smoke when there's no smoking in the park. Well, technically, they're smoking in their car. I mean, is that a situation where you call the police? No, you just ask them to stop and they either do or they don't. But you have those kinds of situations everywhere,
Yeah, I mean, that's
and
life with other people.
yeah,
It is.
and you just have to decide, I still see people running their dog in Neowah Park. And I say to them, we have a dog park, and their answer is, my dog doesn't go along with other dogs. Okay, well, they're making a good decision to not take their dog to the dog park then, but the dog's supposed to be on a leash, so,
Yeah, you're like, well then,
and we
you don't
don't
let your
have,
dog in the dog park, then put your dog on a leash.
and we don't have a park
Yeah,
ranger, so-
I get really frustrated with certain dog owners that, yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
It's a conversation that I think we will keep having, and whatever we do, the next Parks and Rec will also probably have to have a conversation. I mean, it's a park in a residential area.
and I'll tell you, we talked about changing that to basketball, and I will tell you, it was unanimous, everybody wanted to do it. Everybody on this commission wanted to do it. So nobody said this was gonna be a problem, and I don't think we realized it at the time. I mean, I would never have recommended it if I realized we were going to create this kind of a thing. Because that was not the wish, that was not the intent. Beth, can we, for next meeting, maybe, each one of us maybe go through and get 4 priorities or 4 things that we really isolated out of this information
Sounds good.
for next
Yeah.
meeting, so that we don't have to get to the last
Right.
15 minutes of the meeting and not, you know,
Not, yeah,
not get really anywhere.
Yeah.
okay, that sounds like a plan. I mean, yeah, okay. I guess an email, we can all say which segments we want.
Or just bring it to the next meeting and then we discuss it.
Yeah.
I think that gives everybody doesn't have to go home and do it immediately or forget about doing it. Just bring it for next meeting maybe.
Okay, okay.
And then we can discuss, put that as our first order of business next meeting.
A quick note before I forget, I don't know what the cleanup has been like in Wilbur Park, just as far as after the storm, but we were there yesterday, we noticed that a branch was on a wire, so.
Yeah, I noticed that this weekend actually, and we got a few emails, but I think the Parks group hopefully took care of it today. But
Okay.
yeah, they're aware.
There was, I will tell you, there was a lot of cleanup in the park.
Oh, I'll bet.
And, you know, it was a week and a half that the guys were working in the park.
Yeah.
It definitely took that long to get power up.
I didn't have power at my building for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, they'd love to come do Rose Ave, there's a couple trees. They want to take those down.
Yeah.
They got a chainsaw.
Okay, I move to survey for next meeting. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Move to adjourn at 8:11.